All right, so let's talk about Green Lantern, boy.
Okay.
And well, his newest adventure, called Green Lantern: Beware My Power, right? So this is like the newest DC Universe movie, right? And it centers on the character of Green Lantern. Well, in this case, the Jon Stewart version, right? And they actually do like a really good, well, reference that, well, they actually do bring up the original, Hal Jordan version as well too, right? But
Right, right.
when we get to the review, we will kind of mention what happens with him, right? But Ricardo, take it away. What is Beware My Power about?
Sure. So, Jon Stewart, he fight in Iraq. He's a sniper apparently. Helping out his soldiers with support fire and whatnot. And then they find out there's a flashback, and he attacks some random man in the street, outside of a bodega or something
Yeah,
like that.
I didn't even know what city John is from.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just not versed in the
I don't know.
comics, but I'll get to that
But
in my
I,
review.
I forget. I just assume
Yeah.
it's New York. I forget. I really forget the details. I think it's New York, but I haven't read these comics in a long time, and they change that shit all the time anyway. But basically you have a kind of working PTSD for the most part. And then all of a sudden, a ship comes down. We're involving this is the big change. Involving the elders of the Green Lantern. Oh god, my brain slipping over what they are exactly.
The Guardians.
Guardians.
The Guardians, yeah.
Right, yeah. A Guardian comes down and gives him the ring. And like, oh, okay, so he becomes a Green Lantern in these circumstances. That is interesting. But, it kind of hints at something very, very wrong if that is the case. And then the ring, this is, okay, so I'm going to talk about something that just bothered the hell out of me. You see the whole ring talking thing? I hated it. Sorry. I
Really
read
now?
that shit. I read that shit, Judd. Sorry. The ring, if it was just kind of semi-conscious and not talking, I would be fine. But it have a voice? No.
Yeah, but this is not the first time that
I
they've
know.
done that, though.
I'd say no.
Really?
I'd
Is
not
it
say
really?
no. That is not relevant to the point. I just hate it. Like it's so bad though. Like it's just bad exposition though. However,
Yeah, well that's what it says. It's an expository
yeah,
piece,
whatever.
right? Yeah.
So he getting the ring, talk to him. It sent him. He couldn't get it off, and then it fly him to the Watchtower to meet the Justice League. There he meets Vixen, Martian Manhunter, and Green Arrow. And then the story starts from there because basically Superman and Wonder Woman busy, Flash busy with something else. So they had to sort out some shenanigans involving the Guardians because they didn't talk to the Guardians in a hot minute. And they're wondering why it is that why this dude has Hal Jordan's ring. You're wondering what the hell going on. And then we get to that. So the Green Arrow and Green Lantern, the new one, Jon Stewart, goes to Or, and they sort that out, and it's just expository thing. And we reach there, and that's where story starts. They meet Hawkgirl, they meet other people, they meet Adam Strange, and it's a big story involving Hawkgirl's race, the Tanagarians versus what's the race in this one? Ran,
yeah.
yeah.
The
Iranians. Yeah.
Iranians,
Iranians, yeah.
Right. And yeah, they build from there. And well, my opinion about this, I was whelmed. Right, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I was just sufficiently whelmed. This was tepid to me. Here's the problem. Remember, I just said I didn't read that much Green Lantern. I kind of know enough Green Lantern to know where exactly this was going. The second they did
okay.
The second they did a certain thing and they introduced a certain character, I was like, all right, I know where this is going. And well, if you know Superman, the death and return of Superman, and the fallout from that, you know exactly where they was going with that shit involving a certain Keystone City. Right. And they just basically take that. I was a little disappointed because John Semper wrote this thread. And like, yeah, John Semper is like top tier DC writing material, though, for me, at least now. He's top tier, well, I should say top tier comic material. He wrote some of my favorite Spider-Man stuff and thing. So it's like, all right, you could have given me a better story and they could have go deeper with this. And I wanted something deeper, but it was fine, right? It's fine for what they do. Again, super predictable knowing where they was going with it. Adam Strange was a bit of an unnecessary ad, but I get why they put him in somewhat. Another character, the character they introduced in the storyline was kind of dumb. Sorry. It's kind of dumb. A little too dumb for a character. For what it was, I mean, I suppose you want to go spoilers or not if you want to.
Yeah, you spoil, might as well.
Right. So yeah, Hal Jordan was kind of dumb in this. Sorry. Right? Hal Jordan, he was dumb when he was good, and then he was dumb when he was evil.
I have a gripe about Hal Jordan, but when I get to
when they was using the data beam thing, right? He used it to block So he had all that power to block the beam. He used it to block the beam. It failed. And like, bro, you can just like push the whole thing on the side to make the beam fire somewhere different. You can do that. Like, am I the only one who thinks he could have just do that? Like, that just seemed like way less energy than the amount of energy he used to block the beam. Well, and then when he was revealed to be Parallax Green Lantern, which is like a big Green Lantern storyline. Well, they retconned it later because he was legitimately evil, and then they learned later it was Parallax taking him over after. But that's like a real big Green Lantern storyline where he with all the rings on his finger, very popular comic book panel. And yeah, he was kind of dumb in that too. It's like, bro, you have all these Green Lantern skills, and again, you have Scott notice, so like, you know, you could kill him here and stop this and do that. And it just had that general, like, I won't say laziness, but like just lack of conscientiousness with the fighting and how characters moving. Same thing with Sinestro. Again, Sinestro's in this. And like, bro, you could kill him here. This character could kill this person here. Why is that this person not paying attention? And it just was underwhelming. Again, not shit or this is complete trash or anything like that. It's just like, I kind of wanted more. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, and I'm not going to rewatch it. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. So that's just me.
All right. So, Tracy might get mad at me for this, but I'm in the same kind with Ricardo, man. Didn't love it, but I didn't hate it neither. It was just there for me, right? And my reason is just simple. Is just because I'm sorry, I'm just not a Green Lantern fan. And you know, like, I just know bits of information about him. You know, so I just kind of went and kind of thinking, okay, well, you know, at least those bits will help mature, right? What I didn't expect, because I went into this completely blind. What I didn't expect was, you know, yet another origin story. Like, okay, we need to see how Jon Stewart became Green Lantern and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see it coming. Like, I just thought that it was just going to be, you know, him now as Green Lantern, and, you know, he just going on this adventure now. So this kind of plays out like an origin story again. But it just kind of complicate things, sorry for using that term, by just adding this stuff with the Tanagarians and, you know, the Ranians, Oranians, whatever it is, and all that stuff now, you know what I mean? So, like, for I don't want to call myself a newbie, right? But for somebody like me who just kind of marginally familiar with the source material, it just felt like there was like a lot of just exposition, a lot of, okay, you need to tell me about this, that. Just adding all these elements.
It had a lot of bloat.
Yeah.
A lot of bloat. That's my problem. Like a lot of this, I felt they kind of make simple and thing. Oh yeah, quick correction. So I slip of the tongue. Coast City, not Keystone City. Keystone City is the city where Flash come from.
Right.
Coast City.
Yes.
Coast City was destroyed in the comics. Whoever. That's when he went mad and he became the bad guy for a while, and then he come back later, years later. Whatever. That's my point. Yeah, go ahead.
But you know, like, just to get it good out of the way, animation is solid, you know, throughout. Like, they do the art style where, you know, they just have this sort of harsh black around every character, everywhere, you know.
Yeah,
I forget what you call that style, but
it looks cel shaded, but not really. Like, that is what they're trying to go for. I didn't hate this. Right. I thought it was not a bad call, but again, if it had more money behind it, and it was a little smoother, it would have been great, actually, at a great choice. But as it is, I didn't mind. I didn't mind. My issue was just the writing, like just the story itself. And look, Hawkgirl in this was real annoying. Like, look, chill out, Tread. Like, I know you're supposed to be the angry character, but like, it is irrationally ridiculous. Like, at a certain point, like, really? Like, you really need to load up somebody like that? Like, you chill the fuck out now. Jeez, way. Anyway, whatever.
No, there's a moment where Green Arrow, right? Because I just find it so funny that, all right, you know, Jon meets up with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, Green Arrow needlessly antagonistic too.
So here's what. Let's just tag the green people together. So Green Lantern, you go with Green. Yeah, I'm sorry. Green Arrow, you go with Green Lantern.
Like,
right?
I get what he was going for. No, I get what I was going for with that, because that's like a popular comic, Green Lantern and Green Arrow together. It was Hal Jordan.
Okay.
I would have liked. You know, here's the problem, This Green Arrow had the Batman problem in this, where, like, dude, you're not supposed to be fighting these big aliens and go. Like, if they had a relatively grounded story and they did the same thing, that would be okay. But they had this big space epic now, so like it was ruined it for me. It's like it had enough moments. I was like, yeah, Green Arrow, you're supposed to be dead, dude. Like, sorry.
I know, right? Like, dude, you are a guy who just have a bow and arrow. I'm sorry. I'm
tired of that shit. Whatever. And I felt,
but back. Yeah.
But that's my last point. I felt they could have just if they did a more grounded story with this, where Green Arrow would have make some more sense, and it was on Earth, and they could have, I don't know. I writing this, I reviewing the movie that I didn't see, right? But
you know,
boy. It was just
but
nonsense, Stuart. But it's still not the worst thing. It's stitched together reasonably well. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. But also good. Voice acting for the most part is good.
Right.
Aldous Hodge, I didn't even know he was in it. You might remember him from Straight Outta Compton. He is actually gonna be in Black Adam.
You're gonna be Hawkman, right?
He's gonna,
Yes, which is so ironic that Hawkgirl is in this. I was like, that's funny, right?
Yeah.
I mean, voice acting is solid, man. I did wish, like, honestly, I didn't expect to see any Justice League member at all. So it's kind of surprising seeing Marshall Hunter and Vixen and stuff like that. But I thought they would have been in the story a little bit more. They're just kind of just there to just be like, hey, here's Justice League.
Yeah, here's one dumb thing. Marshall Hunter couldn't read his mind and just sorted out immediately. Because they had to have a whole action sequence. So Marshall Hunter can't read minds in this universe, right? Like, you know?
I mean, that being one thing or the other, my hilarity was he comes on the ship, he comes on the watchtower, and he starts doing his due. Vixen and all of them seeing the green constructs.
Yeah.
That is enough to tell you this guy is after when Manhunter, I think it was Manhunter who had subdued him.
Right.
And they suddenly look, there is his ring. He must be a Green Lantern. The minute you see the constructs, that is one of the things that I have.
I was about to bring up.
Needless action sequence. And I get it, they clearly catering to Justice League stuff because like I thought he would have I thought Vixen was gonna be on the way. Like Vixen showing up, like if Vixen went with him instead of Green Arrow, that would make more sense because she can actually handle like that level of combat now. And like Vixen and him have a relationship, well at least from the DCAU, and then him and Hawkgirl. So I thought they could have Hawkgirl, a little love triangle, something they could have do with that now or something, right? Whatever. Moving on.
In my opinion, as I almost say all of them. In my opinion, Marshall Hunter and Vixen and Green Arrow could have gone, but it's Green Arrow, so okay, all right, cool.
Right, exactly.
I mean? But yeah, the issue with this though is the writing as well. I just felt like it was a little overstuffed in terms. That's another point I want to bring up is overstuffed in terms of villains. Because like, okay, it's Green Lantern, so you have to have Sinestro. And yes, I do like how they kind of work him in. Like, okay, he became, Hal's acolyte the moment that, Hal became, the evil, Green Lantern all of a sudden, all that kind of stuff. I kind of get that, right?
Even though I saw the twist coming, I thought it was reasonably well executed. Like, Hal overpowering Parallax. Like, that's a thing. Like, Parallax still corrupting him, but like, Hal will be the kind of guy it'll corrupt him to the point where he still have some workable sense of control now. Like, I get that. Like, that makes sense. Because he is, pound for pound, Hal is the best Green Lantern. Like, I have no problem saying that. I'm not a super Green Lantern fan, so I probably might lose a debate to some actual Green Lantern super fan. But no, like I have no problem saying that Hal Jordan is the best Green Lantern. It's perfectly fine to say so. They say so in this. I accept that fact, no problem. And him losing to Jon Stewart in the way he did is not that he's supposed to be most powerful and he's supposed to beat Jon Stewart or anything like that. It's just how he lost, just real dotish. Like that's no problem. However.
Yeah, and I do understand where how it kind of ends with with Jon not wanting to kill him because of all these stuff that led to the PTSD, right? But I don't know to have Green Arrow just arrows straight through the chest. It's like,
I get what they're going for, because like your die friend and blah, 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 and
but they didn't really build that up well though. This kind of mentioned here, there, Hal and me, and
it's not to say we had a previous movie in something like this. Like this movie would have worked in like a second movie, like a kind of these kind of sequels they kind of do to these movies, right?
Yeah, which DC does a lot with their
right.
With their
we got like a Hal Jordan and Green Arrow movie, and you get that's some good comic shit. Some of the best comics, some of the best Green Arrow comics is that, right? Him and Hal Jordan. Right. You build that up and then you had to kill him. He went missing. All right. You could have given me that. But like in this, okay. I mean, I get it because I know the comics, but like, it fall flat. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll just go rounds up here because Tracy has to share his thoughts, right? The thing about the twist though, like I do like the reveal of it, but there's like a few seconds where they literally kind of show it, like like it's after this big fight scene basically involving Sinestro, right? And there's like a moment, a respite, if you will, right? And you're just there like, okay, they cut him back to Hal. All right, Hal watching the screen a kind of way. I wonder if he could turn heel. And when I told myself that, and then like 10 seconds later, boom.
Yep, no, but once he said heel. Yeah, when he killed the guy the first time, he engaged in his violence, and it surprised
Oh, right. Yeah. He had
I
a
was like,
gun
all right,
and
yeah, I know what's
this
going
bus
on.
shots is like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
second time he did the film, actually. And that's
Right.
why you have this few seconds and all of a sudden, yep, I'm the bad guy and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But you know, like the design of it, because I don't know if it's based off the source material, but I do like his look. You know what I mean? Especially with him rocking all the rings and all that kind of stuff. That was dope. I must say, right?
Yeah.
Hawkeye, just unnecessarily, you know, tough, and you know, I don't want to say tough, just unnecessarily angry and all that kind of stuff. There's a moment where basically they were saying, okay, well, you know, we have the ship come with us, we'll go and investigate this thing, and she's like, well, as long as you don't offend me or say anything or try to attack me, I will go with you. Like, I remember like Green Arrow said something, I forget what he said, something really snarky, but I was like, dog, like Hun, just chill, just relax. You know what I mean? I understand her place here, but I didn't really see that much character growth with her. She was just angry and it's like, oh, Targaryens are being attacked and blah blah blah. The Adam Strange thing I would have left out, but I kind of understand why he's there. And that kind of just leads to my overall problem with this though. Like, because you're doing the whole origin story stuff again with in this case with Jon Stewart, he just threw in all these characters here. And it kind of leads to a problem where, you know, for someone like me who's not versed in all things Green Lantern, I'm just kind of going in learning about, you know, these characters, right? So when you bring in Hawkeye and this and that, it's like, all right. But then when you go to like the bad guys and, you know, the scientists with the Zeta ray beams or whatever, all the kind of stuff, you train all these stuff that, you know, it's clearly there to cater to the fans. Like, all right, I know this character, I know that character, but to everybody else, it's like, all right, why should I care? And because the movie just kind of runs at a quick pace, you know what I mean, for its 85 or so minute runtime.
Which I was glad at. I was glad it was faster. No, I'm glad it was quick.
Me too.
Yeah,
but I think it just feels really overstuffed. Like you're just really trying to do a lot. And just in closing, again, not familiar with the source material. It kind of felt once again like one of those DC animated movies where they take like this graphic novel and try to condense it down like 12 issues or whatever. Yeah. Like remember, like infamous example, the All-Star Superman. Not Death and Return. Not Death and Return. At least they had a two-parter for that. But I thought, well, like All-Star Superman, my God. Like, they took all that and compressed that into like 80 minutes. And like, why? So this one here, I just kind of felt like it maybe it's not off of a graphic novel, but maybe from some sort of comic book run or whatever it is. But I just felt like they just took all that story and just compress it down and kind of treats the audience like, all right, you're a fan because you're watching this because you're a fan, so you should know who this character is, and we don't have to stop to explain stuff, but then you explain other things, and it kind of slows things down. So it's a kind of weird mix-up in terms of what they're seeing and how they see it, right? So if I could just rate it one time, light 3 out of 5, man. It's side for what it is. I was entertained by it. I enjoy the action scenes in particular. If there's one thing, you know, the DC movies do well, you know, it's action, the fight scenes are kick-ass in my opinion. I just felt like it was just overstuffed, you know what I mean, despite the story they were telling. And I kind of trust that you watching this are a fan, so you should already know who these characters are and kind of, you know, enjoy it way more because you see the characters that you know. But to everybody else who kind of just like marginally familiar with this is, be like, all right, okay, why should I care? Shouldn't I really make him a care? Unfortunately, so it's like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I really do see myself watching this again. But you know, it's one of those DC movies, and I'm always on board to see what they do next, man. So, yeah, Ricardo, before we get to Tracy, your final thoughts and rating.
Yeah, about that, a flat 5 out of 10. I didn't, again, if it had a little more time to breathe and they could have punched up the script a little bit, it would have been a lot better. It was fine for what it was. Again, there's a bunch of stuff that just more like, you know, stitching problems now. You had to just fix here and little threads that they could have just clean up a little better and make it a little cleaner. And it would have been a much better film. But as it is, it just underwhelming story, a predictable twist. But you know, if you liked it, it'll be fine because I'm reasonable fan of Jon Stewart. He's a pretty decent character, all things considered. I get what they was going for with him as it is. So that's about it. Yeah. 5 out of 10.
All right. So Tracy, you could tell us how wrong we are. Take it away.
I stopped telling people how wrong they are a long ass time ago. To be honest, that's how I roll. But here's my random thing, because I kind of scribbled down some notes during the film of itself. One, I will acquiesce that this film has a kind of Superman, Batman, Public Enemies vibe to it. In that,
that's a real good comparison.
There's no, like
Yeah.
there was a lot of action, but the
Right.
story of it,
Like clumsy.
where do you fit in with that kind of scene? My problem that I have with it, by the way, before I even get into that, let me just, in terms of voice acting and stuff, nobody will ever top Victor Garber being Sinestro in Green Lantern First Flight. I feel like that was the pitch perfect Sinestro.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that was cool. I had no problem with the voice actors, and it was actually kind of joy to realize that it was Aldous who was being the voice of Jon Stewart. So that is cool because I know where I'm going to see him next. So there is a thing. But for me, I was kind of wondering when I was looking at it, where are we going? Where are we going with this? And in terms of what I mean by that is, and this is something that people tend to be asking of Marvel Phase 4, for the previous iteration of animated films, they were leading up to somewhere that eventually pulled itself to be Apocalypse War. And then, of course, Flash did the whole Flashpoint, the second Flashpoint after everything went to hell. And so we actually were told that
with no build up, by the way, he just does it because
he does it. No, the thing about it is somewhere before the Justice League War, where we actually met the first iteration of them, there was that whole Flashpoint film. So when he comes back at the end of Apocalypse War and says, okay, Constantine tells him you're gonna have to do that thing that you did before. And they talk about it for that in a little minute. It's like, oh, okay, so we're going to do another Flashpoint scene. So coming out of that Flashpoint and everything gets redone in a real sense, there's all these disparate stories like the Justice League, Justice Society, World War II, which I actually found the animation style of this reminded me of that from 2021. It kind of, you have stories like this and stories like that, and I'm not feeling like I know if there is, for want of a better way of putting it, an end game. Not that there needs to be an end game, but, with the what we had before, there was something there. So that was my problem. We already discussed the idea of them battling him in the Watchtower, not realizing, in terms of the construct. There are things inside there that I was a little worried that it was basically going to be Green Lantern First Flight all over again. That's the Christopher Maloney Hal Jordan one,
which I liked. Yeah,
I will forever go back and watch that one. And I mean, said Trisha Helfer is inside that, so anytime Caprica 6 is in anything. And for me, I will acquiesce that maybe if this was a sequel or some sort of something closer to that, like, okay, this is the next generation, the next iteration rather of the Green Lantern tale, it might have been a little more amenable to it. I didn't really have a problem with a lot of it, but it was just one of those things that, as a Green Lantern human, like I have 2 rings. I have my Green Lantern, White Lantern ring, and my Green Lantern ring, and I have all kind of crap around the house. There was a time when I was fully immersed in it, the oath and everything. I looked at it and
thankfully for you, the live action Green Lantern movie didn't scare you all that much, right?
No. Well, no. Here, I will just side with this. There was a time, and I mean for years, I was not talking about that Ryan Reynolds film. Like anytime anybody brought that up, because I went full out before everybody was dressing up. I was in Movie Town in a full kit. Well, not a full kit, but something close to it. And I had my rings, and I sat down there with my friend Richard and one of my other humans, and we sat down and I was like, what is this? So that was a thing for me. The animated films and even the comics themselves, some of which I still have, was in fact something that I actually quite loved. This film, not so much. So I'm not going to fight down if anybody is not like 100% in it, because I am not 100% in it. I'm inclined to give it like a 3 out of 5. I think you, Matthew, gave it 3 out of 5. I'm inclined to go along those lines. The animation style, like I said, is good. I dig it. I like the Green Lantern, Green Arrow kind of thing. This is on a side, but I was kind of hoping that they would have done that with Diggle and Oliver, because in season 8 they kind of hinted to that come down as the final season they was going to go do that.
That's still bothering me.
Do it,
but they didn't do it. But that's another conversation for another year. So
he coming back into season for Super Lewis, and the way they set it up, he might be doing a bigger role, because I know they're doing Mannheim and them. I'm like, all right, Intergang. Okay, but still, man, give him the ring now, man.
No. He
right?
stopped. No, he stopped. He said he doesn't want it because he went into an episode of. Okay, we're going off topic, but he went into an episode of Flash recently where Eobard was in prison. Eobard didn't have powers or anything like that, and he had asked him because he's head of August, and he walked. He's the head of August or something like that now, and he walked inside the prison and he asked Eobard, what do you know about what's in this box? And he opened up the box a little bit, the green light comes out, and Eobard is explaining to him that is a power and it's something that could change your life and do all sorts of stuff. Obviously, Eobard had his own plans. And at the end of it, he just decides that he would rather prefer to stay with his family and build up his life, which is a noble idea.
I hate that. Whatever. Yeah, go ahead now.
I don't mind you saying that you want to stay home and do that kind of thing.
I suppose, yeah. Right.
That is fine. But my problem is that for the longest while, the Arrowverse, when the Arrowverse was a thing, was setting up the idea of, even when, he was like a guardian and was dressing up in green and all this kind of stuff, they were setting up Diggle to be that variant of the Lantern.
Right.
So even when he's in Batwoman and he's getting headaches because the voices are talking to him and all that kind of stuff, it's like, yes, good. We know where this is going. I don't know if it's because on a business side, the CW decided to cut down on half the shows and they decided
I know it's unreal. I know Discovery cleaning house, the Royal cleaning house, and I don't know what up in the air, but still.
But in terms of this film, it's a 3 out of 5. I didn't hate it. I liked some of the stuff that I saw of it, but I'm waiting for the next thing to drop. So,
yeah, whatever it is, and I do hope that at least it's better than this one here.